You might be a YA librarian if
you help students pick prom dresses based off book covers. They're all dresses now. Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Q&A The Librarian Way. I am Julia from Sunbeam Yellow.
And I'm Emily from the Gnoming Librarian.
And this week our question is what to do with that reference collection in your library. Do you keep it? Do you not keep it? Do you update it? Do you just kind of let it fall apart? And so you're going to hear our answers and our questions to that. I'll give you the school perspective and Emily will give you the public perspective.
You probably have one of those old school librarians in your library, or as I like to think of them, traditional librarians before really the digital age. One important thing to do as you start to decide what you want to do with your reference collection is to sit down and talk to them. They're going to provide insights that you might not think about because you use the computer every day and you're not used to having to go to the stacks to find information in books, which sounds awful because we're librarians and we do that, but I don't necessarily first thought in my head think, ooh, I'm going to go to the reference collection. Instead, I'm thinking, what database can I use? What are some of the good websites that I've found that can help me with this information? So make sure you have that discussion with your traditional librarians, and they're going to provide points of view, reasons why you should keep some materials in your reference collection. And I know it's difficult. Budgets are difficult right now. We don't have the money, and reference books are terribly expensive. So is it worth purchasing these expensive books just to sit on the shelves when you could be purchasing other items that will actually get checked out on a regular basis? So sit down and have that conversation with your traditional librarians. Get their point of view. Make sure that they're comfortable with the move as well. It's a change that you want everybody in your library moving together with. Recently, we weeded our entire reference collection. We went through it. We had a whole side of the library that was dedicated to reference, and it's now just 2 shelving units. There were some materials that we felt that we should just keep in the library for a little while longer, see if we could find ways to promote them to see if they'd get used a little more. The rest of the collection we went through, and some of it went to our circulating collection. So now it's being circulated in the nonfiction section, which is kind of neat because when a patron is looking for particular information and they go to find that reference book now in the circulating collection, they're also finding other books around that area that might be useful as well. So we have made that change, but it's kind of up in the air what we're going to do. We're still questioning whether we should continue to purchase encyclopedias. What are the schools needing? Do we need to make sure that we have some reference books on the shelves for school projects? For college students who come home in the summer and are writing papers. So we are constantly reevaluating what we're doing with our reference collection. It's not something that now we've moved everything, we're done. No, every time that we get calls from vendors or we find a book on the shelf that hasn't moved in a while, we sit down together and we talk about whether or not it's good for our collection, we should keep it, or whether we should try to find alternate resources for that particular item.
It seems like in the school library world, the reference collection is just something we all question every day. And so right now, I still have a separate reference section from the rest of my collection, but I am considering moving it into regular nonfiction just so that it will be used and taken advantage of more often. But the reasons that I have kept the reference collection available, even though there is so much out there on the web now, is because sometimes our computer system goes down at school, and that tends to be a frequent problem in school systems. And so you don't want your library completely shut down just because your computers aren't working. And then we also have students every now and then that have their computer privileges taken away. So for those students, it's nice to have a collection available for them to use. So those are the reasons that I've kept it separate, but like I said, I think I'm going to be moving them over just so that they'll get used more. It is important though, and this is difficult because reference books are expensive, but it is important to try to keep that collection updated as much as possible. That is becoming more difficult with more web sources being used, but that's something that we should just be shooting for.
So as you may have noticed, we don't have all the answers, and we won't as things start to change in the library world with technology and budgets and staffing. So it's something that we're always constantly going to be working toward. We would love to hear what you've done in your library though. Give us some tips and tricks, that would be great. And as always, leave your questions below. We would love to have some questions from viewers to answer. And we will see you next week with Julia's Library Short. Thanks.
Bye.
Hey Julia, who are you checking out?
I'm checking out Jamie in Codename Verity by Elizabeth Wine, one of Emily's favorites. I'm not finished with it yet. It's a story about two friends during World War II, and it's told from the perspective, at least so far, of a girl that has been captured by the Nazis. So, Emily, who are you checking out?
I'm checking out Aristotle and Dante in Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by this author. I don't want to butcher his name. It's about two young boys in 1980s New Mexico who are just really trying to figure out life and their place in it and what friendship and love means. So, an award winner. Check it out.
See you next week.
Bye.